Hey, the Pavetta rifle. Drop the gun! Oh, shit! I'm hit. I'm okay. But I'm not gonna die.
That's the best way I've ever heard it before.
Oh, I'll leave that in.
Oh, great. He's got a whole bunch of blooper reels.
All right, you can start whenever.
We really can't put that in. That's gonna have to go.
All right, fine.
I'll have to go on the side edit. You can't put that in the front of the episode.
All right.
You ready?
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Welcome to Badges, Bullets, and Blunders. I'm the host, Travis Harless. Before we get started, if you'd like to support this podcast, go check out our friends at Slick Sleeves Syndicate. Never forget where you came from. Today's guest is Nick Lopez. Nick was a LAPD officer for a number of years and has now moved on to a different career field. And Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where are you from? What did you do before you became a police officer? You know, how long were you an officer? What were some of your assignments when you were a LAPD cop?
Yeah, so I was born and raised here, Bakersfield. I bounced around in college. I played baseball. And so I bounced around because of that. Started out Cal State Bakersfield, went to Cal Lutheran University, then wound up at Whittier College.
What position did you play?
I was a catcher, and then they made me into a pitcher.
Oh,
so,
okay.
had a good time doing that. Even then, I was still trying to figure out like what I wanted to do. My dad's retired chippy here.
Okay.
Mom worked for the district attorney's office for 37 years. Uncle's a correctional officer. So law enforcement kind of ran in the family. Wasn't still really quite sure, even after I graduated, if I wanted to go into that. But so I took like about a year or so. I think I worked at like Foods Co. for like 7-8 months.
There you go.
I was like working in the hood. You know, I was working like
After you graduated from college?
Yeah.
Okay.
So while I was still trying to figure out like,
What you get your undergrad degree in?
Got it in political science.
Okay.
Yeah. I wanted to go the criminal justice route because I thought maybe like down the line I was going to wind up in law enforcement. But even they said like, don't lock yourself into that criminal justice specifically.
Yeah.
Like branch out or do something where you could be, if you want to do something else, you can use that. So
I tell everyone, like, if you're going to go to college, don't go for criminal justice.
Right.
It's like, because like if you get a degree in anything, like most police departments and law enforcement agencies that require a college degree don't specify what that degree has to be in.
Right.
And so it's like you're going to get all the on-the-job training that you need wherever you go and wherever you end up. So you don't need really to get it in maybe if you want to learn about law enforcement in college, but it's not like a thing that's going to help you more so than a degree like in your case in political science. So like, don't waste your time getting a criminal justice degree if you're going to go. Sorry, because you might get into it and then decide, hey, this isn't for me, and then now you have this criminal justice degree, and like, what are you going to do with that? Whereas if you get a degree in something else, you become some kind of law enforcement officer, and then change your mind. Well, now you have that other thing that you can sort of fall back on. But
right.
Sorry, I interrupted you.
No, you're good. No, you're completely right. So, yeah, so I got mine in political science. Then again, moved back home, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. Like I said, worked for like Foods Co. for like 7-8 months. Then I wound up working at Bevmo for a while. And then so I was like, you know what? I was finally decided, join the family business, so to speak. So applied several different agencies, a couple feds, a couple local departments, LAPD2. The one I wanted to go to was Secret Service. They offered me the expedited route. I was like, oh shit, that's awesome. The only thing was you can't have glasses or contacts, which I have. I wear contacts. And
yeah, me too. I didn't know that.
Yeah, you have that 20/20 vision. At least this is when I applied. They're like, you have to get LASIK on your own.
Oh, gotcha.
So I was like, well, I can't afford that right now.
Interesting.
But LAPD offered me the expedited route as well. And so they picked me up next. I was like, all right, I'll go LAPD.
You can't wear contacts.
That's what they told me.
Yeah, I think about that. Remember the Butler, Pennsylvania, where Trump was shot in the ear or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's all those videos afterwards, and they can't get their gun in the holster. You know?
Right.
It's like you really care about contact lenses.
Yeah.
You think there's something else I'd be more worried about.
Right.
So all right. So anyway, so you couldn't do Secret Service, and LAPD called.
Yeah. Yeah. LAPD called, offered me the expedited route. For the most part, I had a pretty squeaky clean background. You know, both parents really being in law enforcement, so I knew I wasn't going to try to, you know, do anything crazy stupid when I was younger. And so yeah, they offered me the expedited route. Got everything knocked out. I think I got an academy date like 3 months later.
Okay.
Yeah, and did my academy July 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, I was on the street. I think my first day on the job was Christmas Eve,
Okay.
2017.
Where did you work in LA?
So I worked in South Bureau. It's a place called Harbor Division. For those who aren't familiar with it in LA, it's like South Bay, so it's like Wilmington, San Pedro area. I did that for my probationary year.
Okay.
I just remember like first day on the job, FTO. You know, first thing he said was like, "Yeah, all that stuff you learn in the academy, fuck all that. You know, as the street, forget all that bullshit."
It's
you
like the
learned."
typical,
Classic.
the classic, the classic old
Forget everything
disgruntled
you learned in
FTO.
at
I'm going to
school.
teach you everything you need to. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So fun times. I mean, you get. I don't know how it is. I mean, I'm sure it's different with every department. You get various FTOs, or do you get like several different FTOs? Okay, yeah. So I had 3. You know, did
We're similar. We do a first phase, a traffic phase,
Okay.
and then we do a second phase, and then a shadow period.
Okay,
So
gotcha. Yeah, pretty similar to what we did.
okay.
But yeah, working in the South Bay, the South Bureau, it's you run into a lot of stuff. I mean, you got all your basic cop food groups. You got gangs. You got drugs. You got your DVs, all the fun stuff. Once you finish your probationary period, it's called going on the wheel. Basically means like once you're done with your probation, you have like several different choices that you can put in for where you want to go work in LA. Depending on needs, you know, you get your first, second, or third choice. Sometimes you get the shit end of the stick and they send you out somewhere where you don't want to go. But
So are you living down in LA at the time?
yeah, yeah. I live not within LAPD's.
But when you were like, once you finished like through the academy, and then once you finished the academy, you'd move down there.
Yeah, I was living in LA in the academy at the time. I was in the county of LA.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wasn't directly like in the city within.
Most
where I
people
patrolled.
don't live in the cities that they work down there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
You're commuting in some like what was your commute like to get to San Pedro?
To San Pedro from where I was, give or take with traffic, it was about 30, 45 minutes.
That's not bad.
It's not too bad. Afterwards, after my probation, my commute time from where I was in like the East LA area to Venice Beach, it could be like an hour 15.
Okay.
One of my partners, his parents lived in Long Beach, but he lives in Lake Havasu. So he would do 7 days on, and then he would have like 7 days off, 8 days off. So as soon as he was done with the shift, he would get in his car, drive like the 8-9 hours to Lake Havasu.
Yeah.
In his week, and then after he was done, drive the 8-9 hours back. And
So they allow you to adjust your schedule to work that?
some do. That's how he was able to do it.
Yeah.
Not everybody, I think, was able to do that, but he was able to have it worked out like that.
So you finished a year probation in San Pedro, and then you said you got on the wheel or whatever, and you ended up in in Venice Beach?
Yeah. So it's called Pacific Division. So yeah, it's like the Venice Beach area, Marina del Mar, I believe.
What are the schedules like there as a patrol officer? Like, is it you work 10-hour shifts, 12s?
So we worked 12s. If you work mid shift, it's 10-hour shifts. It just switches. Like you'll do a certain amount of time, especially during probation. Like you'll work the day shift. You work 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Then you work like graveyards, night shift, call it C watch, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And then like mids. So it's like 10 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Okay.
So 4 10s.
Okay. And so you did both 10s and 12s?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You get exposed to.
How many
both
officers
schedules.
are on a shift? Like you show up to work and you go to like your briefing or whatever. Like how many are actually there in the briefing that are like part of your shift?
It kind of varies between divisions, but for the most part, it could be anywhere from like, and we worked 2-man cars. So I think around 20, 25 officers.
Okay. Is that 2-man cars? Is that just for that district, for that Venice Beach area, or do they do that in all the different? I don't even know what the term to
Yeah, like all
the districts or whatever.
Yeah,
or zones.
it's with LAPD. Everyone works the 2-man car. Doesn't matter what division you're working.
Okay.
But yeah, we work 2-man cars, and we would call it working a U-boat. It's like if you're working by yourself, which basically like you're a report writing car.
Oh, really?
Yeah, shit pops off, and you're like, hey man, I have like this 459 that happened yesterday. It's sort of like a vandalism. Can you just go take this report?
Yeah.
And so you do that, unless you were a supervisor and you had your own car. But aside from that, you were working
all doubled up.
Yeah.
How long do you have a partner for?
Like as far as
Like, is it? I guess like for our agency, our shifts we shift change every 6 months.
Okay.
So every 6 months you can put in for a new shift to like go to a different shift.
Okay.
And if you get partnered up with somebody, usually it's the duration of the whole 6 month long shift.
Okay.
So like when you get to Venice and then you get partnered up, do you pick the partner or do they assign you a partner?
Yeah.
And then how long are you with that person?
Gotcha. Yeah. So it's different. Like you're going to be partnered up with someone like no matter what. And also depends like with time on. Some people, if you have like an academy mate where you both went over there and if you like say if you want to work together, usually for the most part, depending on scheduling, you can work there with your partner for as long as you want. It kind of depends too if a new watch commander comes in or someone's like, no, like you're gonna work with who we tell you to work with.
Yeah.
But for the most
So
part,
it's both. You can ask for a person and they can get granted, or then they can also tell you we'll give you what we're going to give you.
exactly.
Yeah. And so how long do those last? Like the shifts last before you can, I guess, put in for a new shift, or do they even do that way? Do they have like a rotation where everyone switches at a certain time, or?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. I know we did it at least for probation. We were working like a day watch shift for I think like 4 or 5 months, and then you'd get switched to like a mid, or you'd get switched to like a night watch.
And do you bid for those positions, those shifts, or do they just assign them?
Sometimes it also depended on like seniority. If you had enough time on, like, hey, I got kids or I got a certain schedule I got to keep. Usually, if you have the seniority, like you're gonna get first pick, and no one's gonna mess with your schedule. And, if you're brand new boots, like tough shit, you're gonna get what you're gonna get.
So then I guess I wonder how that works. If you have a guy who's working like 7 on 7 off, they allow him to adjust his schedule that way. It's like a fireman schedule,
Yeah, yeah. It's random. Everyone's a little different, so they try to work with you as best as they can. And again, too, it depends on how much time on you have and seniority. But sometimes, like you really want a certain schedule, and they're like, "Hey, man, sorry, tough shit. You gotta do what you gotta do."
Yeah, I think the term for that is a super commuter. If you're like more than a distance you could drive in the day or whatever.
Right.
Like I've heard of people in certain. There's a big controversy for a guy. He was a chief or an assistant chief somewhere up north, and he was living. I think he was like living in Idaho and working in Northern California somewhere.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah, and it was like this big stink. But that's more common than people realize. There's a guy that we work with. He was telling me about some guys he met in a training class who live in a different state, and one of them has a pilot license, and they'll fly in together, and they'll go to their shift for 4 or 5 days. They'll work, and then they'll fly back home. But yeah, that's from Tahoe to any jurisdiction or any district in LAPD's jurisdiction is going to be quite a 8-hour drive, probably 10.
Yeah. I've heard of some guys. I mean, some of the firefighters. Shoot, I think some of them were commuting as far from like Oklahoma.
Yeah.
So
and that kind of makes sense too when you show up to the logistics of that are a little more simple because you show up to a fire station and you work 7 days straight and you live at the fire station too. So you don't have to have like a separate apartment or something. Does LAPD, do they have like a bunkhouse, or like where does a guy like that live during the day?
Yeah.
Or do you have to have a separate like spot down there?
They have a couple bunks depending on like the division of the station where guys will take a nap or crash out for a couple of days. Some guys, they have like the big RVs that they'll park in the station, and they'll just stay there.
Yeah.
And then some, they have extended family here. And
they could park a trailer on the street at anywhere in like downtown LA and just live there.
Yeah.
Nobody will tell them to leave.
Exactly.
You have a transient cop living in the street.
Transient whisperers.
Yeah. Okay. So then how long were you in Venice?
So I worked Venice for, I want to say like 3.5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I was working there. I was doing regular patrol. And then I switched over to what's known as the Venice Beach Task Force.
Okay.
And so you were working like oceanfront walk.
Okay.
So everything that goes on there, you're
The first thing that pops into my mind is like a bicycle with some of those like short shorts.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah, we do have the bike cops there.
Nice.
Yeah. I was voluntold to go to bike school.
Okay. That's actually pretty tough. Did you do the 40-hour class? Do you remember? Was it a full week long course?
It was a full week long course.
Yeah.
Full week long course. I only made it to the third day.
Oh, really? They have a huge attrition rate. A lot of people like fall out or whatever.
There would be SWAT guys that wouldn't be able to finish it.
Yeah.
And yeah, for those, because I get a lot of shit hearing about like bike school, but it is probably the toughest training I've ever had.
Yeah.
And it's not like you're gonna learn how to ride a bike. No, it's like you better know how to ride a bike. And like Elysian Park, it's like mountainside, so you're doing like 20, 25, 30 miles.
Yeah.
Straight incline, and then
doing hills, and they do all the stuff with the stairs, and they do like the slow speed maneuver courses with the cones, which
all
is like
that.
really hard.
And
it sounds silly to say like it's a bicycle school,
Right.
but no, my wife went. She worked in our impact unit, which is like downtown. And they have a bike section of the unit, and they sent her, but they didn't fit her to a bike before she went. So the bike was like for like a 6 foot tall man, and she's a 5'3" woman. So like, her feet couldn't touch the ground if she took them off the pedals. Yeah, she had a tough time. But we had a guy that went, and he fractured his elbow on the slow speed maneuver course. He like fell off the bike, and he failed or whatever. What happened? So you said you made it 3 days in?
Yeah, I made it 3 days in. It was kind of similar to what like my gears kept like busting.
Yeah.
And you fall behind, and I think they give you like 2 tries. If you fall too far behind, they have like a van that's following you, and so it's like 2 strikes, you're out.
Yeah.
First time you're like, hey, all right, one more.
So you got to keep a certain pace going, like a distance ride.
Yeah. And you fall too far behind, like second time you're out, like all right, you're done.
Yeah.
And so it's tough. One of my partners,
it's like that Stephen King movie or the book, The Long Walk. There's a movie coming out about it.
Oh no!
Where they shoot you if you stop moving.
Yeah, it's like these guys. It's like some post-apocalyptic world, like, and they have this thing where they walk and have to like maintain like 4 miles per hour. Like this group of like teenage boys, and anybody falls below 4 miles an hour, they get like 2 or 3 warnings, and then if they can't keep up, they just shoot them. And the winner is the person who is the last one to fall out. Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
It's crazy.
Sorry, you keep getting sidetracked.
No,
so yeah, chains busting on you because you got a bad bike, and then cutting you.
Yeah, but they told us like first day there, like it's not uncommon breaking your collarbone. You're gonna probably break a bone. It happens in this, and sure enough, like one of my partners, it was on the you have to go down on like a staircase, and it's a pretty long staircase, and he went ass over tea kettle. I mean, he broke both wrists, broke both his elbows, dislocated a shoulder. Damn. That's
crazy.
But everyone sees the the short shorts and the Lieutenant Dangle shorts, and they think, oh, like what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a bitch and a half. So shout out to bike school, anyone who made it.
Okay, so you're on this Venice Beach task force, and is the bike patrol, is that an assignment you worked, or is that just an assignment within the task force?
It's just an assignment within the task force. Like there's different divisions within LAPD that have specific like bike teams, like Wilshire, like closer to downtown LA, us. So that way, like if you're bike certified, if there's big events that are going on within the city, you get sent for bike detail that whatever that day. But yeah, Venice Beach had its own just bike team that would go up and down, specifically during the summertime when it was just ridiculous.
Yeah,
packed.
Okay. So then, you said you're there for 3.5 years?
Yeah.
What other things do you do on this task force? Like, what is the purpose of the task force?
So you're dealing everything specifically like with the beach, and so with that comes with everything. So like Venice Beach, I mean, I already know like it's an international destination. Like summertime, you have 15, 20, 30,000 people, and everything that comes with it. So you're gonna have your armed robberies, you got your gang shootings, you got your trafficking, you got your drownings, you got your OD. So everything you can possibly imagine, every crime you can think of, it happens on the beach. On top of the, all the encampments, the homeless.
Yep.
It's not uncommon to, patrolling, and they're coming out of their tents. Just trying to
Okay.
defecate in the middle of the sidewalk or
So you guys are assigned specifically to the beach part of the city.
right.
I gotcha.
Right.
And then the rest of the people assigned are handling calls and other things within like the interior. Is that right?
Yeah, yeah. So within like the division that you're working, we work everything ocean called oceanfront walk to the beach, and then everything east of it is the rest of the division.
Gotcha.
So they work inland, but yeah, we just take care of the beach.
Gotcha. Yeah. So from the sidewalk out west to the water.
Right.
Okay. So yeah, you said you're there 3.5 years, and then what happens? Where do you go from there?
So from there, I guess to back up a little bit. So when I was working there during my time, Venice Beach and all crazy shit going on, just being a cop. It was also during the time of like the pandemic, all the craziness with.
Were you guys shutting the beaches down?
What's that?
Were you shutting the beaches down?
So, God, I'm trying to remember. Like there was such a big debacle with that.
Yeah.
It was more so because I know that was super polarizing when all that stuff was happening. I know it was happening like with the sheriffs, and we saw that, but it was more so with us. From what I can remember, it was like, hey guys, I know it was supposed to be like the whole 6 feet distancing thing like that. We weren't hooking anybody up in cuffs and dragging them out and stuff like that. But it was more so like, hey, just letting people know, like, you should be 6 feet apart, or hey guys, more like, just saying that we were able to, enforcing. But yeah, we weren't jamming anybody up for.
They were arresting people for social distancing
Yeah,
violations.
nothing like that. But we were definitely getting tons of calls when the pandemic was happening. Like, hey, like this restaurant is open, they should be closed. And
Oh yeah,
all
there was a
this
ton of snitching going on.
Oh, there was a ton.
Yeah.
There was a ton.
Yeah, I remember. I was just talking to. We had a guest on last week, Leo, that Leo guy, and I was talking to him on the phone yesterday about COVID restrictions. We had during that time. I was a brand new sergeant. I promoted to sergeant in February of 2020, and then like the next month is when COVID started, and we had an assistant chief who had created this letter that we were supposed to issue to people if they were assembling in like larger groups or whatever. And neighbors were snitching on neighbors, and there was this neighborhood where these people called in because this lady wanted to have a block party, and she had sent out flyers like asking the neighbors to come to have this block party. And people were calling the police about this, which is in hindsight is so stupid and ridiculous. At the time, I thought it was kind of wild that he had drafted this letter that we were supposed to issue to people and say like, the violation was that the governor had issued an executive order saying that you're not allowed to assemble in groups of, I can't remember the number, it was some like 3 to 5 or whatever it was. You can't have more than this many people like assembling together. Right. And I remember when it came out, I was like, I'm pretty sure that the Constitution guarantees the right to assemble. Right. Like the very first fucking rule that we wrote down in this place. Right. Like what do you mean?
It's one of the protections.
Yeah, it's the first rule. It's like, and so I was working, we switched to this emergency shift schedule, and I was working the night shift, and the day shift sergeant one of the sergeants on the day shift that I was relieving was like, hey, we had people called about this lady, and here's the letter, and can you take a couple of guys over there later and give her the letter? And I read it over, and I was new, or a new sergeant, and I was on probation, and I was kind of nervous about my status. And I thought, like, first of all, like, I can't do this because it's illegal. Like I can't issue this. It's a constitutional violation to even go over there and talk to this person. And so what I should have did is just tell them to like fuck off, and like I'm not doing that. But what I did was like, oh, okay, yeah, and then I just took it and I put it in the desk drawer, like it was in the sergeant's office. Mm-hmm. So like I didn't destroy it or throw it away, but I was like, I'm not actually gonna do that. And so I just hid it in the drawer and then didn't say anything, and nobody ever said anything and didn't turn anything. But in hindsight, I should have just been like, no, like I'm not doing that. That's illegal. And what the fuck are we doing here? Like,
yeah.
Anyways, sorry. This is one of those things that I'll go off on. You start talking about COVID or Prop 47, or
you have a whole episode on Prop 47 for sure.
Yeah. All right. So then you're working during the pandemic, some social distancing. Did they actually close the beach in Venice Beach? I remember seeing videos of like skate parks where they filled them in with sand. Was that there?
Yeah, that was Venice Beach that they
filled in the skate park ramps.
They filled it with sand, and then usually you would get like skateboarders and stuff in the middle of the night, just like start taking out the sand and stuff.
Yeah,
and we go fill it in again, and
really?
it was craziness.
That's crazy. But
like the same thing that you were talking about, it's like what the hell are we enforcing? Like this is, and you can imagine the complete and total clusterfuck that went on between like command staff and like, are we doing this or like what the hell this goes against? Like you said, it's So just craziness that we were all just trying to get through. And then, on top of that, then everything with George Floyd happened, that craziness. And
They have a
then
lot of riots in Venice.
Venice, bordering on like Venice, Santa Monica, there were some,
Okay.
more so going into downtown LA for sure.
And I imagine there was like an all hands on deck kind of scenario. Did you get moved during that time?
Yeah.
You had to go work in the downtown area?
Yeah, so a couple nights we got sent out there. It wasn't every single night, but again, it was the whole city's on fire, craziness. So we would get sent down there. We call it hats and bats. You're in your call it mobile field force.
Yeah.
It was just crazy shit. Like it was probably the closest thing I saw to being post-apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, at least within like the 90s when the riots were happening in LA, it was contained to like one section of the city, and this was like entire city was just going ballistic.
Yeah.
Squad cars on fire, looted, burned out buildings, people rioting, and just driving in like 20 cars deep, and just smell the smoke and burning squad cars. It was crazy. Taking bricks and bottles. But it was that was a wild time.
Okay.
But so after that, what made me change and what made me, want to become a therapist was...
Well, hold on. Did you work a different district after Venice, or did you retire or leave law enforcement from while you were working in Venice?
So I left when I was working in Venice.
Oh, I got you.
So
Okay.
that was my no, that was my bad. I left while I was still working the Venice Beach Task Force.
Okay. And what year was that?
That was, I believe, 2021. So I'd been there for, about 3.5 years.
Okay.
And so, 2021, 2022. And so what kind of led up to that was, it wasn't one singular incident
Yeah.
that made me want to leave. I think it was, looking back on it, just an amalgamation of just the job itself and all the crazy shit that happened. I started noticing changes in myself. Like, I think I was really starting to get just burned out.
Yeah.
To the point where, like, I had a hair trigger temper.
Yeah.
I hated people. I hated everyone.
Yeah.
I would start snapping at people. When I would go home, I'd want to be in bed all day. Like, just F off. Don't talk to me.
Yeah.
And it came to a point where, I was having like full blown like panic attacks and anxiety attacks
Yeah.
at work, and nothing would be going on. They would just come out of nowhere. And I was like, at first, I figured like, maybe one too many energy drinks, or you're tired,
Too
you're
many
exhausted.
White Monsters and Zen or something.
Exactly. White Monsters, Zen, some pre-workout. But I was like, but it kept happening over and over again. And like, I would suffer in silence. And what I mean by that is, so like when these would happen, I would feel it come on. And we work in like a 2-man car. So I would tell my partner, hey, I got to hit the head real quick. Just give me a second, and unbeknownst to them, like I was ripping off my uniform, and I would have to like sit on the toilet or sit on the corner, because it just felt like my heart was pounding out of my chest, and the walls were closing in on me. And I was like,
dang,
fuck, like this kept happening on and on. And
were there specific things that would trigger that, like specific sights or smells or like things that would happen, or was it just kind of at random?
Yeah, just randomly. It wasn't any specific like sight or smell. I think it was just more an amalgamation of just the job itself, and then just constantly being around it. Just for whatever reason, it would trigger it. And again, I suffered in silence too, because I always prided myself on like if we had to go hands on, or if we had to go, take care of some asshole, like we were gonna do it, and we were gonna handle it, and we were gonna handle it the right way.
Yeah.
And I never wanted my partners to think like, hey, can he handle himself? Like, do I have to look out for myself and him? And I never wanted my partners to think that, or my command staff, or anyone like that. So for a long time, I suffered in silence, and I dealt with it. I tried to suck it up. Then,
how long is that going on for? Where like when you first hit the street, you're probably not feeling that way. Like how long were you an officer before you started feeling these like this anxiety and this started coming on?
Probably like right at the 3-year mark.
Okay.
3-year mark. Yeah.
So right in lining up with the George Floyd riots, the COVID pandemic, and then the George Floyd riots, right in that time window.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the perfect storm.
It really was. It really was like throwing gasoline on the fire.
Well, and that's like a common like time frame too, that 3 to 5 year of mark in law enforcement, where people really start to kind of burn out.
Yeah.
You know, it's sort of super fun, exciting in the beginning. Everything is just like new and awesome and great. And then once you start to get into a rhythm and things start to become routine, and then that's when the burnout will kick in. So it sounds like you were right in that phase where, you know, things had stopped being so familiar and new and exciting, and then you're starting to naturally go into that burnout time window, and then boom, like all the worst time, like to be a cop hits right at the right moment or wrong moment.
Exactly. And, you know, I felt it. And then, you know, you're dealing with that, you know, 12 hours a day, you're getting motherfucked everywhere you're going. You know, people hate you. You know, you're getting cussed out, spit on, and then you're handling calls where people are actively trying to fight you. You're dealing with that. And then again, you're done with your shift, and it's a hard shift. And then you come home and you turn on the TV, you turn on social media, just how much of a piece of shit you are, just for you wearing the badge. You have nothing to do with what happened with George Floyd. And then so you're exposed to that. And I lost several friends, like nothing that I did, but just because I was a cop, and, you know, they just assumed that we were all corrupt and crooked pieces of shit. And so, yeah, it was just a collective of just everything that went sideways. And then it just got to a point where, even off duty, you know, the you know, the barrel of my 9mm, the muzzle just started looking a little friendly, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And then that got to a point where I was like, oh, screw that, I have to talk to somebody. And so I went to the department psychologist. First off, I let my sergeant know. I didn't tell him the whole story.
Yeah.
Because again, too, this is a time where I've never been to therapy before, anything like that. You know, I'm kind of afraid to, like, if I say something, are they going to put me like on a 5150 hold? Are they going to take my badge gun? And you know how cops are, word gets out, like, oh, you know, he can't fucking hack it. Is he a fucking pussy?
Yeah.
I didn't want that either. So I told my sergeant a little bit about what's going on. He's thankfully really supportive, you know, because I know that's not the case everywhere. There's, you know, other cases where you'd be like, suck it the fuck up, quit being a fucking pussy, get out there.
Yeah.
And so luckily enough, you know, they supported me. My cap, even.
So you said there's a department psychologist. Is that like someone who's works there at one of the stations, or how does that work?
Yeah, so the department psychologist is they work in downtown, and so I saw it like via Zoom.
Okay.
And they have like their department shrinks and therapists, depending on like what's going on.
Yeah.
And
everything's run through the department, so you go like through the chain of command to like request to go see them, and then they do it that way.
Yeah.
I was just wondering. So we have in our county, they call it shielding the front line. Are you familiar with that? So it's like I'm going to screw this up. So all the shielding the frontline people out there, I apologize. But I believe it's a nonprofit, and there's a gap that exists between who's paying for it and the end user. So like as an officer, they're always pushing the information out like within the department. Like, hey, if you need some help and you want to see somebody, but one of the big things is people don't want to admit, you know, this, that they need some help.
Right.
So it's really hard to actually go to your supervisor and say, hey, I'm having this issue.
Yeah.
So they create a gap where you can just contact shielding the front line directly, and you can message them, or you can do it like via text. You can do it on like an app or whatever. And you submit your information, and then they reach out to you and they contact you, and none of that gets shared with your agency. So the agency doesn't know. I think that there's people that work in the agency who run this. And again, I apologize, Coleman and everyone else out there, that they'll know that an officer or however many officers from the department are using the service, but they have no access to who it is.
No IDs, no specific.
Yeah. And so it's funded separately, and so that keeps it separate so that they don't have to deal with like the stigma or like not that there's even a stigma at this, in my opinion, at this point. You know, I've been a cop for 18 years. And I'd say early on in my career, there was kind of probably a stigma that came with that. But at this point, there's so many people that deal with so many things. And if you've been around long enough and you want to pretend like you don't have some issues, like you're just a liar. So, you know, like there's no judgment.
Yeah.
You know, like,
right.
And at this point, in this day and age, but yeah, there's a separation between the person who's getting the service, and the agency doesn't know that they're getting the service.
Wow.
So
that's really cool.
Sorry, I interrupted you. So you're going through your chain of command. The department's got their own services they provide, but you got to like go through your sergeant to like get set up to see the psychologist.
Yeah. So giving them not the full breakdown of what was going on, but just going through some shit mentally. And again, like they were super supportive. They were cool. Again, trying to figure out like what are the next steps, taking time off, I guess you want to call it like stress leave, talking to the department psychologist and telling her everything that's going on, what's been going on with me. And, her saying, yeah, it sounds like you have like PTSD from the job. And I was like, oh shit. And again, it's my first time going through all this, navigating it. I know at the beginning of the academy, they tell you like, oh, you'd be going, with this job, you're going to be going through some hard things. A lot of this stuff might be difficult to talk about, or, you're just going to see some really, really messed up shit. It's just part of the job. So they give you a list of like the therapist, nutritionist, psychologist, and, like anybody else, you probably think like, well, I'm never really going to need that shit. Like I'm okay.
Yeah.
But, I wound up using it. And so I talked to her. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do next. And I was like, okay. And so I was gone. I was like, call it stress leave or whatever you want to call it for, gosh, I think like 2 months or so, 2-3. So like you burn like your sick time, vacation time, things like that. And I was trying to figure out like, well, like what the hell do I want to do next? So it was pretty much like shit or get off the pot time. So just talking to my my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, there just came a point where I was like, you know what? Thinking back on it, a lot of my partners, for whatever reason, they would come to me with their problems. It's, you're 12 hours, it's a long shift, you're stuck with a person, so you're going to wind up talking. And so for whatever reason, they talked to me about their problems. They like to confide in me. I was never really a gossiper. I just kept my head down. I didn't talk shit about anyone or anything. And I also too was like, you know what? I saw like just from the George Floyd and the pandemic, but just from the job in general, like with first responders and cops specifically, just how big of a need was for just mental health services. And I thought, you know what? A lot of these therapists and psychologists, they're great, they're awesome, but a lot of them can't relate on the sense that, they've been there. They've been on the job and worked the beats and done all the shit. So I was like, you know what? I could see myself having that niche, having that specialty. I think I would call it, I don't know if you want to call it like a higher calling or just something that, felt like it was the right fit. So I made the decision to leave after 5 years. And I decided to go into grad school. Whatever I made with whatever I put in like my pension or whatever money you have and use that for grad school.
Yeah.
Did my 2 years of grad school and I got my grad degree and became a therapist.
Okay. Nice.
And so right now, as a therapist, I work with just strictly like the civilian population. And
how long have you been a therapist now?
About 2 years now.
Okay.
2.5 years now. Work specifically with trauma. So that could be anything from you were molested as a kid, witnessing domestic violence, witnessing death, sex trafficking, things like that. And so being able to work with civilian population, specifically with, just it's all trauma focused.
Yeah. When you choose to become a therapist, like other different fields, because pardon my ignorance, like how many different fields are there? Like what are the options? Like you're going to become a therapist. Like what are the different types of therapy that you could choose to like go to become a therapist for?
Yeah. So it really varies. It also depends too, like your academic background. Like some of them, if you want to be like a psychologist, usually you have to have your BA in psychology first, and then grad school, and then usually psychologists you have to have your doctorates. So, but there's also different ones. Like there's substance abuse counseling. There's clinical therapists. It's called like LPCC, and there's different vernaculars, and also depends on the state too. So there's a ton of different routes that you can go into if you want to specialize again in specifically like criminology, forensic. Psychology, if you want to do specifically like family therapy, trauma therapy, it just varies. But me specifically, I wanted to work with the first responder community. So right now, this is my first gig at a grad school, but just learning right now, kind of developing. Again, it's like being a rookie cop, developing like what you're good at, what you want to get into. Just kind of developing your own tool set and just growing as a professional.
Yeah.
Again, it's like having a good supervisor, having a good boss, like on the street, like telling you like the do's and don'ts, what not to do, the pitfalls you might fall into, or like, you know, you might mess this shit up. You know, it's just part of growing. Same thing with, you know, therapists. I'm fortunate right now to where I have a good supervisor, boss, and, you know, growing as a therapist and learning what trauma entails, how it affects you, how it affects the client, how to interact with like the support system. So
Yeah.
it's been really good. And I think, you know, I'm in the process right now of trying to get onto a private practice to work specifically.
That's what I was going to ask. So then when you finished all the training, the schooling, and then you have to do some hours, I guess, like, how does that work to get certified? Do you have to do like, were you in another, like, I want to like you, as a cop reference, like an FTO, you know, or is there like a person that sits in with you while you're doing a session that kind of shows you like as like live in a session, and then like how long you have to do that for?
Yeah. So again, it depends on what your background is as far as like the therapy or psychology. It also depends on the years too. Like if you graduated this year, okay, you only need to do 2,000 hours. And then for whatever reason, you know, they extended, okay, if you graduated this year, it's 3,000 hours. Like with me, I have to do 3,000 hours. Then I have to take my law and ethics exam. You have to do that. And then once you take your licensure exam, then you're fully fledged clinical therapist. So I'm known as like an assistant therapist right now.
Okay. And so you work like in a firm, or what is it even called?
Yeah, it's for where I work right now, it's like a private practice through the state, if that makes sense. It's specific only to like California.
Okay.
And so we work through like what's called as like regional centers. And I believe the regional centers are only specific to California. So you're working with civilians more who are developmentally, cognitively, intellectually disabled in regards to trauma. Like I said, it could be molestation, it could be witnessing death, it could be domestic violence, things like that. So, so that's what I'm doing right now, and hopefully I'm looking to hopefully work with a specific population, first responders pretty soon.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm at right now.
So you're looking to finish this and then get out and start a private practice, and your focus is you want to focus on first responders.
Yeah, that's the game plan right now. Long term, would I love to have my own private practice specifically for first responders? Yeah. Okay.
So right now, when you do these sessions, like, are these people assigned like through the state, or do they come to the practice like on their own, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's like through different agencies. It's kind of hard because I know it's like kind of California specific. Some of the clientele would be referred out through various agencies, say within like Los Angeles. And there's like, you know, critical incident teams, or, you know, LCSWs, LMFTs, who clientele, you know, worked with specifically, and like, hey, okay, I think this would be a good spot for this client, depending on their needs. And then, you know, the supervisor or the higher ups, they will kind of do a background, like if they meet the criteria, if they think they would be a good fit.
Yeah.
Because they just don't let, you know, anybody in. And then from there, they go through us. You do what's like an intake, basically like a background, like what's been going on, your history, you know, everything like that. And then they start services with us.
Okay. And where is the practice?
For us, it's in there's several offices in LA, all the way up to like San Francisco, but mine specifically is in the East LA area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Do you have any questions, Nick? Some therapy questions?
No.
No?
No.
Oh, I would ask about, is it age groups? Is it all age groups, or is it focused more on like kids or teenagers, young adults?
It runs the gambit.
Yeah.
I think the youngest I've worked with is like 9-10 years old, all the way to clients could be 60, 65, almost 70, and it's everything.
Not a specific demographic.
Yeah.
And it's all one-on-one sessions? Is it?
Yeah, some are one-on-one sessions, some are like family sessions.
Yeah.
They can be virtual, in person, and it runs the gambit. You can work with anyone from, let's see, like autism, kids who are autistic, all the way to bipolar, paranoid, schizophrenia, you know, suicidal ideation daily. Yeah. So it just depends.
Really?
Yeah.
So when you have someone with like a schizophrenic, is there like, there's therapy for that? Like, pardon my ignorance. So
No, you're good.
we deal with a lot of schizophrenic people, and I'm like, I just don't know what the solution here is. They have medications that they give them, but like, is there like a non-pharmaceutical approach to that problem?
Yeah, so with patients who are schizophrenic, and it's more so not doing or working with the schizophrenia itself. That's part of it, but it's more so like a paranoid schizophrenic patient who may be dealing with something like trauma related, like grief or something else. But that does come into play, their paranoid schizophrenia, which
Yeah.
may or may not, affect how they are like on a daily basis. Some days, the auditory visual hallucinations could be incredibly severe, and we work on basically like reality testing, like, hey, like you're okay, like, the voices in your head are just voices.
Yeah.
And other days it's more so it could be, working on, like, say it could be the grief or whatever that's going on.
When you tell a schizophrenic person that, like, the voices in your head aren't real, they're just voices, like, what kind of responses do you get for, like, when you say that?
It varies. It varies a lot, because I asked them.
I've tried that, and I'm not a therapist,
No.
right? But like, I've never seen that be successful. like they're full on convinced that the government is watching them through the outlets in the wall, or like they're
Right.
they're listening on their phone calls, or like they're being followed, and like
Right.
there's no convincing them that's not real.
Right. And it's tough. The paranoid schizophrenia community, it's very hard. It's because again, it's like, and also depends too. It could be, are they under the influence? Are they sober? Are they
It is
medically
California, so
yeah. Are they medically compliant? Are they
Yeah.
not taking their medication?
Yeah.
Do they have like support outside of therapy? So like with some of our clientele, it's working with them. It's just kind of checking in reality-based testing, letting them know that, hey, like, this is a safe place right now. You're okay. It's,
yeah.
this is a safe space, checking in, like, see, what are the voices saying? What are they telling you? Is it anything dangerous? And then you do risk assessments as well. Like, do you feel like hurting yourself? Do you feel like hurting others? Like, what's going on? And working with them on, like, emotional regulation, anger management. You also work with their support systems, whether it be like their parents, their sibling, conservators, who's ever taking care of them if they have care.
Yeah.
But sometimes clients, they're homeless. They could be, not mine, but some are, they have intellectual cognitive disabilities, and they're also battling drug abuse. They're battling alcoholism. And so everyone's a little different, but it's, it could be a challenge. You never know what you're going to run into, but it helps you grow as a therapist, just like getting into the shit as a cop. It helps you grow and helps you become a professional. It's a challenge, but it's worth it to work on, just because, you grow.
Yeah. Yeah, you're a better man than me. I wouldn't be able to do that. So now you also you have a podcast that you're doing. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, so I have a podcast called the Code 3 Industries Podcast, and basically what it is was I wanted just to give a platform to guys like you, first responders, therapists, clinicians, vets, for them to tell their stories, anything first responder related in regards to mental health. Just basically having the hard conversation that, again, I think part of it is the stigma that nobody wants to talk about, just like the hard conversations of shit that goes on in the job, the realities of the job that, maybe a lot of, the public eye really doesn't get to see, or feels like they don't know what goes on behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And just giving people a platform to talk about it, and just things that are going on, or even if it's like talking about, resources, or, things that can help, like if you have a therapist on, or who works specifically with the law enforcement community, or things that, first responders can do that could help. And I just wanted to be able to have a platform for people to listen, even if it helps a person, and be like, you know what, I'm happy to hear that I'm not going through this shit alone, that someone else is going through it. And if they hear a story, something that connects with them, like, wow, that helps me. That's what I wanted it there for. It was, I never intended it to be like, I'm trying to be like a cop influencer.
Yeah.
Or, anything like that. Not trying to like monetize or anything, but just have a space for people to just have the hard conversations, and just no fluff, no bullshit, just like their stories on the job.
Nice. Do That kind of jogged made me think of when you were going through it at the end of your career as a police officer, and
Yeah.
you're starting to have these anxiety attacks. I know you said it was accumulative, and how does maybe shine some light on this now as a therapist? Are there specific incidents that come to mind? And again, you said it was cumulative, so it's like kind of cumulative stress, but. How does it work? Is it like you go to that one call where you see that terrible thing and then that kind of causes a breakdown, or is it cumulative, like you said, and I keep repeating, or is it a combination of the both? You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it could be both. And again, everyone's different. Like my trauma could be totally different from, say, your trauma. Like one person, it could be an officer involved shooting, and then for whatever reason, if it could be a certain smell, it could be a sight, it could be the place of the shooting that brings back all the bad memories, all the trauma that happened, and that's what sets them off. That's what it is. Like outside of that, they're completely okay doing the job. It's that one specific incident. Just with me, I think it was just an amalgamation of like just burnout, just not knowing how to cope with it. And then because of you not knowing how to cope with it and the amalgamation, that leads to internalizing all the bullshit going on.
Yeah.
And so obviously that doesn't do you any favors.
Yeah.
So then that's where like it starts bleeding into your personal life.
Yeah.
And that's when you start, where you see a lot of cops like, oh, they start hitting the bottle,
Yeah.
or they start hitting the drugs. And then that's why you see like the domestic violence, or, unfortunately you see them, they, turn the gun on themselves, unfortunately a lot. And so, yeah, with me, I think the biggest thing too that helped me a lot was, my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, because obviously she wasn't on the job, but having that support there, like she was always big on, even before we started the academy, was like, I don't care what happens during your day. I don't care if it's an officer involved shooting, whether you or someone else, or if it was a slow day, no matter what, I want you to be able to be open with me, because I want to be able to support you. I want to be able for you to be able to have a space to talk about what's going on.
Yeah.
And even though, she may not be able to like relate to me on the level because she was never a cop, it's just having that support there, and knowing that she was in my corner no matter what happened. Because I know a lot of the times, I think within like the cop community or like the first responder community, you go and you see the worst shit of humanity. And then you go home, and then, sometimes maybe they do want to talk about it, your significant other or someone, or cops internalize it, or first responders internalize it because they think it's like, you have no idea what the fuck I just saw or what I went through.
Yeah.
I can't relate to you. And then the only time you can relate or you talk about it is with, people at work, or, and sometimes that's when that disconnect in relationships happen a lot.
Yeah.
And so, and then we can go into a whole different category of like not wanting to deal with it. And then, you start doing all these shifts, because it's not more so, it's like picking up all these OT gigs or whatever you want to call it. It's more so because you don't want to deal with shit at home, or your brain is, you're working as a cop, your brain is on it's on a high speed 24/7. And then it's like sometimes when you finally come home and you're alone with your thoughts, and your brain is like, hey, we need to process this shit that just happened. And you're like, no.
Yeah.
And he's like, fuck that. So
Yeah.
you want to go and you want
to go back to work.
Yeah, time to go back to work, or hey, I'm gonna hit the bottle because I don't want to think about all the shit that's going on. And so it could be a ton of different things. But yeah. So with me, I was very fortunate to have that support, as I know. Sometimes it's a lot of cops don't have that, or they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah. Where do we find your podcast if people want to go listen to the Code 3 Industries podcast?
Yeah, so right now it's specifically the links are on my Code 3 Industries Instagram page, it's just at Code 3 Industries. And then if you go to YouTube, it's still fairly new. So there's, I think, 5 or 6 episodes up right now with various guests. It's on YouTube. Yeah, just at Code 3 Industries.
Okay. You use Spotify or Apple or any of that? Any
Not yet.
platforms?
I'm looking to get on Spotify and Apple pretty soon. So.
Okay. And we'll link to your podcast in the description on this episode for sure.
Sure.
I didn't even get into asking you about your funny cop stuff, so we could do that right now. Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Tell to us. Well, it's kind of switch gears, right? So we're on a pretty serious note. Maybe how we got to this point.
Yeah.
So You had a kind of a funny dead body call.
Yeah. And again, it kind of blends in perfectly with like first responders and dark humor, right?
Yeah,
Like,
dark humor. Yeah, so it's terrible and awful, but like there's that. In the times when the worst, most terrible things are happening, like those are where some of the funniest events like I could think of in my life.
Right.
You know, where like it was just the most awful thing that's going on, and then someone cracks that little joke or that little thing happens, and
Right.
it's like a coping mechanism. It helps you get through it.
Exactly.
But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, talk to us about the funny thing that happened on the dead body call.
Yeah, no, and like you're completely right. Like that's something the general public, they don't understand that. Like, how can you joke about that? How,
Yeah.
someone's dying in front of you. Like, how the hell do you joke about that? It's coping.
Yeah.
You're dealing with the worst of humanity. You see the sickest shit, and you have to deal with it somehow.
Yeah. Did we talk about the pizza party?
I think we brought it
We brought it up
briefly,
once.
but
We had this one. Were you on the call?
I wasn't on the call. No.
There was this call. There was a fire at this crappy apartment building in a bad part of town, and the guy lived here in this apartment. He had two daughters, and the mom was like locked up or on drugs and didn't live with him. And he had a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and he was in the parking lot drinking and like hitting on some girl, and he left the stove running and lit the whole apartment on fire. He was able to get the 4-year-old out, but he couldn't get the 2-year-old out. And so we get there, and he had run back in it, and he had like burned. He was like melted, like everything was melted off of him, and he wasn't able to get the 2-year-old out. 2-year-old died. The fire department shows up. They put the fire out. We go in there, and sure enough, there's a dead, burned up 2-year-old in this apartment. It's like the most awful thing ever, right?
Right.
So the next day, our peer support supervisor, who's in charge of our peer support unit, he comes to our shift briefing, and he brings pizza, and like, he offers the services. He talks about shielding the front line and the other services that they have available and they provide. Just a little quick, like 2 to 5 minute, like kind of brief on like, hey, these are what's available if you guys are dealing with anything, blah, blah, and gives out these pizzas and everybody's eating it. And then he walks out and he leaves. And somebody in the shift briefing says like, hey guys, I'm really sorry about that, that burned up baby, but at least we got a pizza party out of it. And it was like terrible, like the terrible, like worst joke ever, but it was like so funny.
Right.
Like everybody laughed so hard,
Yeah, it's one of those things like you kind of like had to be there.
You had to be there, yeah.
Yeah.
So me retelling it, probably should cut that out because it's not funny when you say it in hindsight, but when it happened, it was just like, oh my God. Like the timing on it was just like,
Right.
So
Yeah. Well, I just feel like this is just a perfect example of like a coping mechanism.
a
for
coping
sure.
mechanism of a very dark joke and of like very dark, fucked up situation. Because again, like what are you going to do?
Right.
So sorry I interrupted you again.
No, you're getting like it's
Yeah.
again, it just goes to show like unless like you're there, unless you're a cop or a first responder, like
Yeah.
you wouldn't get why like you make jokes like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, there's like a time and place for everything,
Oh, of course, we're not saying that in the public in front
Right.
of anybody. This is
Yeah.
like in a private room.
Yeah.
It was just the people from that shift, just the cops.
Right. Yeah.
And again, I probably shouldn't be sharing it and putting it out there for the world to hear about. But those are like the kind of dark humor jokes that cops will make in private to themselves or to each other.
Exactly.
Kind of get you through it.
Right.
So, anyways, the dead body call.
Okay. Yeah. So we got a call. It was a woman who just died. I believe it was cancer. Died in her bed. I think paramedics were just clearing the scene, pronounce time of death. So we're there and make sure no foul play, things like that. So the family's there. They knew, they think brought her home from hospice. I believe it was like throat cancer, something like that. She was in her like mid 40s, 50s. So we get there. She's in the bed and husband is in the bed with her, like just holding on to her. He's crying, kissing her. And you're like, oh shit. Okay. So, we're doing our best to console him. Like, hey, like we're here. If you need us to call like the mortuary, wherever you need us to call, we will be there to help you. And so, my partner's consoling him. I'm talking to the family. We're waiting for coroners to roll out. I mean, the mortuary.
Yeah.
So we're there. We're waiting. They finally show up like an hour or so later. And so they get out. It's like a guy, kind of heavier set guy. And his partner looked like 18, 19-year-old kid from the mortuary. And so they go into the bed, husband's standing in the corner, like he's still crying. He's about to see his, wife get wrapped in a bag and shipped off in a van. And so, and again, should preface this by like the woman who passed away, she's heavy set, probably like 250 or so. So, they're about to wrap her up. They're wrapping her up in the cloth. And, you know, me and my partner look at each other because he's a bigger guy. And this partner, this 18, 19-year-old kid is really on this. You look like he's like 100 pounds soaking wet. And so me and my partner, before they lifted her, we're like, hey, do you guys need help, you know, moving her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the guy's like, no. We got it. We're fine. And so we're like, okay. So we're getting out of the way so they can, you know, move her out of the hallway and out of the house. And so they wrap her up. And, you know, they're trying to slide her off the side of the bed. And, you know, he picks her up, or at least he thinks he has the grip. And I swear it was like something you see out of like a buddy cop movie, or just some crazy movie. As he's picking her up, he's a pretty dark complected guy. I swear he turned cherry red, and it just happened in slow motion. Like he went to pick her up, and he's just like, his eyes are almost bloodshot trying to pick her up. And he full on slips, and she falls out of her hands, and just wham,
Just big
full
old
on
thud.
head corner, and it's hardwood floors.
Yeah.
So you just hear the crunch of this lady's head.
Oh man.
And she just unfurls like right at my feet. I'm like, oh shit. Before I even knew process, like what the hell's going on?
Was the husband still in the room?
Husband was still in the room. Right.
yeah,
He's
no.
like 2 feet away. He's screaming his ass off. and
yeah,
rightfully
yeah,
so.
yeah.
My partner's like trying to console and get away. She's like, hurry, roll the fuck in. Like, help him.
Let's
I'm
go,
like,
let's go.
did this really just fucking happen? So I'm trying to help roll her in, and the people from the mortuary are like, fuck.
Yeah.
So they're trying to wrap her up, and already you could see like her face was still covered, but where the impact of the head was, it was just already, you just see the blood just gushing from.
Oh man.
Oh, right.
And so, yeah, husband's screaming his ass off, and my
Yeah.
partner's trying to keep him away. Like, oh shit. So helping him like load her up, getting them out as soon as possible. And, you know, they finally, you know, load her up, and, you know, my partner's still in the house, and they're like, oh my God, we're so sorry for your loss. And they just pack her up, boom, and they take off. And I go back, and while my partner's consoling him, I go back to where they, you know, where he dropped her on the head, and there was still like a chunk of like hair and head
Oh no.
right there. And I was like, oh fuck. So I went to the bathroom real quick, and I got some, you know, just some
Paper towels. or
paper
something.
towels and something to clean it up so he doesn't have to see that and shit. But it was just,
Yeah.
it was just like one of those, you're like, did that really just happen?
Oh, that's terrible.
It was just crazy.
Nice.
This one that always always sticks out to me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, whenever those
You
things
should have taken the
happen,
help.
I always try telling them to having the family like leave
Yeah.
the room.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's probably good to get him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I've always done.
Yeah.
Because stuff like that just happens.
Yeah.
And you know, and especially like for the transportation crew, like for them it's just kind of like go in, wrap them up.
Yeah.
And like for family to see that, they're kind of like all like
Yeah.
grief stricken, and
Yeah.
they just don't like seeing it. So I just always just pull them out. Like they're gonna do that. They'll do their little. Usually we'll bring them out to living room to do like a little final prayer or something,
Yeah.
if they're religious, and then you know go on out. So that way they don't have to like see the. I don't know. I guess what you would call it, just like the non-serious way of just kind of like collecting
Yeah.
a person after they've been.
Because
deceased.
it's like a husk at that point. It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah,
it's,
it's just
Yeah, especially if like they've been there and they've started to like the rigor mortis has set in. If
Yeah.
they've been there, and then like sometimes they die in weird positions, and they
Yeah.
have to like straighten the limbs out, and it's
Yeah.
like pretty graphic. You know, the popping sounds that come out of it. It's like, you know, nobody wants to see that happen to their loved ones. So
right.
you got to get them out of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah, dang.
But yeah, I mean, another reason why, like, you think, you know, like first responders and cops have dark humor, like the coroner's office or in the coroners that come
they're
out, the
the
medical
worst.
examiners.
They're worse.
Oh man,
They're
that's
terrible.
yeah,
yeah, that's every day for them.
It's
yeah,
every day. Yeah, and they go to autopsies. I can't stand autopsies, and they'll just.
I've
go
never
in
been
there
to one.
Don't recommend it. I don't recommend it. Hey, you go in there and like the tools that they use. Have you been to an autopsy?
I haven't seen it, but I've seen the tools that they lay out,
They just use like regular gardening, like
like the shears
the
and
shears. Yeah, like when
crack
they
open
when
the
they
rib
crack
cage
open a
and-
chest, and they cut open, they pull
same
it up,
like-
and they expose the rib cage, and they cut the sternum, and they have pruning shears that you would use to like trim your tree, and they just like get on the rib and they just go up the ribs on both sides, and they pull the sternum off, and
It's an effective tool, I guess.
Yeah, it's an effective tool. Yeah, and there's just like like things splatter and like
Oh, I
I'm
bet.
like I get as far back as I can get. Like I don't want to be in the splash zone, and
Why'd you have to go to that?
I've been to a couple just for work related. I mean, I don't just go for fun. We when I was RTO, we would take the academy
Uh-huh.
to see one. For your class, we didn't do that.
No.
I can't remember why.
I don't
We
know.
think we tried to get one. We would take the academy. When I was in the academy, they took us to one, so we had to watch one. And then what is it? Where like the trauma carries over. Like if you were
Yeah.
abused as a child, you're more likely to abuse your children, kind of deal. So
Yeah,
when I
yeah,
became
yeah,
the RTO, I made the academy go to one. But then I've had to go to them like when I was in internal affairs. When I work a critical incident.
Oh,
You
okay,
have to
that
go.
makes
You have to
sense.
attend to the autopsy as
With
part
the
of
detectives?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. So. Yeah, they're terrible. I don't recommend it. And if there's something off, right? If you're just like do that every day, we say there's something off with cops, but like you're in there cutting on dead bodies every day. It's like, ugh.
Special type of personality to be.
Yeah, it's a little different. And I always feel like the smell gets on you, and like maybe it's just psychological, but like I feel like you can't get it off. Like you got to wash all your clothes and take a shower, and then you still kind of feel like you smell it a little bit after that. It's like,
You get
Oh,
like
for sure.
whiffs.
yeah,
Yeah. Just
it-
stays in
like
your
it
nostrils.
sticks to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
like on a good decomp.
Yeah.
You've been to decomps
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
Yeah, those are the worst.
Hot summer day call.
I think the worst one on a decomp that I've been to was the lady had cats.
Yeah.
Oh,
I know what you're talking
They
Cats are ruthless, man.
yeah.
Ate her up.
There's no loyalty. The dogs are more loyal.
Yeah, the cats got a little hungry and started nibbling.
nib it away.
Yeah, they start eating the cats start eating like right away. Like the dog, I think I know I was on that one that you're talking about
Yeah, yeah,
specifically.
yeah.
And there was a little dog in there and there's two cats and the dog was like hiding in the corner, was terrified. And the cats were just they go to work, they go to the face first and then they do the hands. Maybe because it's like the softer tissue or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, cats have no loyalty. Okay, tell us about metheny.
Oh yeah, metheny. So still on probation at this point. I think I'm only like 4 or 5 months in. Still, I think with my first FTO. So we had a call like right out the chute. I'm working like day watch, so like 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. This call came in, I think at like 6:30. I think it was like a 415 woman, possibly under the influence, going like door to door or going into people's yards. She's just like hitting windows, hitting doors. She's just like throwing shit. She's like picking up stuff from the front lawns, just tweaked out of her mind.
Yeah.
And so,
Methamphibian.
yeah, a methamphibian. I'm going to use that from now on for sure. So we get there and we're searching for her. There's a couple of units, traveling around the neighborhood, and sure enough, we spot her. She's in one of the front yards. Again, we pull up on her, and you see her. She's already got that crystal meth fix, like just that.
Yeah. Bruxism,
Yeah,
teeth missing.
yeah. And so we jam her up, put her in cuffs, and sure enough, she's been on a good one. I think like a 72-hour bender, crystal meth. And so I think she had like a couple warrants. And so we put her in the back of the squad car. And again, I'm a probationer, get a female out to search, obviously, but, handcuffing, put her in the back of the car. At this point, I'm still trying to figure out like what to do. I'm probation, just trying to make sure I don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
And there's, other FTOs there. There's a couple higher ups there. And so I'm trying to get the paperwork ready. I'm trying to make sure I'm doing everything right and making sure got all of her stuff and all that. At this point, she's still on a bender. She's just like, still tweaked out of her mind. And so she sees me and she's like, "Can you please let me out of cuffs? Can you please let me out of these cuffs, please? Officer Lopez, please." I'm just running around trying to get everything done. And then, have the window down. At least it's cracked a little bit. It's kind of hot that morning. And as we're getting in the back of the car, and everyone kind of, after the call's done, kind of rally around just to talk a few minutes. And it was real quiet. And then all of a sudden she's just like, "Officer Lopez, I will suck your dick right now if you get me out of these handcuffs, please." And then, of course, everyone starts looking at me. It's like, dude, go handle your girlfriend.
Yeah.
Go handle your girlfriend.
And so even like when we get her back to the station, we get her like in the back and the Sallyport area, like our station, it was lucky enough that some of the divisions were we have like a bench, and we'll have like a holding area for like maybe 1 or 2 people, and it's like literally the open door to the watch commander's office is right here. And so if there's craziness or they smell funky, like you're gonna smell it through the whole station. Fortunately enough, the harbor station, they had like almost a separate room where they had holding tanks and they had a bench. And so we put her on the bench, and again, she's still on a good one. And so I go back, I'm trying to do my report writing and stuff, getting everything ready. And you hear like the watch command on the intercom, like, "Hey, Lopez, come get your arrestee." And of course, they're sitting on the bench, like she's like, her cuffs are behind her, because she's hooked up to the bench, but she's like actively like on the ground. She's trying to take off her clothes. She's like trying to go spread eagle.
Yeah.
And so it's like, "What are you doing?" Like, I'm trying to go over there and make sure like, like she's okay. She's like, "Please, come on." She's like, "I will fuck you right here and now. Just please, I will suck your dick. Please, please."
Yeah, she's not in the driver's seat for that body.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, I'm like, just please calm down. You're gonna be out of here soon.
Yeah.
But again, like this happens 4 or 5 several times. And the watch commander's like, "Just put her in the holding cell." Like she's.
So you guys just arrest her for 550 for under the influence?
Yeah, I think so. I think she had a couple warrants too.
Okay.
So we put her in the holding tank, and at this point, I have to go in, and I don't know for you guys, but we have to ask them certain questions like, "Are you sick? Are you ill or injured right now?" and all things like that. And so I'm trying to ask her these questions and all that. And so at this point, she's in the holding tank, so she's behind glass. And as I'm looking down, I'm asking her these questions, and I don't look up, and I see her. She's looking at me. She's actively like fogging up the glass in this like nasty holding cell.
Yeah.
And she's just like, and as she's doing this, and I'm asking her these questions, she's like drawing a humongous penis in the glass, and she's winking at me, and I'm asking her these questions.
So
and then,
she's been uncuffed, been put in the cell?
yeah,
Okay.
uncuffed, put in the cell. And as she's drawing this big penis, I'm asking her these questions, just up against the glass with her tongue, just
Yeah.
and just
man.
licks it.
That's gross.
I'm like, oh, God.
It's hard to think of a dirtier surface than holding cell glass.
Yes. And I was like, oh Christ. So we,
Maybe like public restroom, like, yeah.
yeah. So I was like, Jesus
Probably
Christ.
not.
So I think we wound up getting another unit to transport her, because we wound up getting botched down with some other calls. But we pulled up like her, we call it her cheers. So like her rep sheets and all that. And when I pulled her up, when we first pulled it up, I was like, no, that's not her. This picture's like heavy set female. I was like, no, that's her.
Yeah.
So when we arrested her, she was like maybe 110 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah.
And like she had been arrested several times like the past 6 months, and she was like over 200 pounds.
Yeah.
And so just that.
You could line the booking photos up and do like
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah. And you
For
just
the
see
starting point
Progression
here,
of
the
a normal
Yeah.
person
Yeah.
to a meth
Yeah,
amphibian.
the faces of meth. Have you seen that? There's like a website. There's
Yeah.
Faces
I
of
have
meth.
seen that.
It shows like the before and after.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, just, and I'm sure you guys have just tons and tons and tons of stories that it's
Meth
just like,
amphibians.
yeah, it just becomes the norm and just becomes common. You're just like, it's just another Tuesday.
He's over here trying to bribe us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been bribed that way.
Not that way, no.
No.
No
Yeah.
thanks. No thanks.
Yeah.
Bethany.
And I go back to the watch commander and just straight face. He's like, you know that she's your girlfriend now for life.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you get her phone number for when
Yeah.
she was released? Yeah.
Exactly. So thanks, Sarge.
Did she give you her Instagram?
Yeah. It's,
All right. Nick, do you have any questions for Nick? Nope. Well, Nick, thank you for coming out and talking to us.
oh, thank you for having me.
Yeah, everyone, thank you for listening. Make sure to check out Code 3 Industries. We'll link to it in the description of this episode. And stay frosty.